How's it going, everyone? I'm here back with another first reactions video. Today I watched the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith episode 3, and I will be doing my first reactions and analysis of kind of what I thought of the movie and everything like that. This film's really good. I'm gonna say that on the outset, but there was one thing specifically that I didn't like about the movie. So the scene where the Mace Windu and the other Jedi apprehend and try to arrest Chancellor Palpatine or Darth Sidious or the Senate. You can refer to him as anything like that. But when they go to arrest him, the whole thing looks very, very silly because the Jedi show up, there's 4 of them, and Darth Sidious literally kills 3 of them with one swing of a light. Like, swing killed that one, swing killed that one, swing killed that one. Then he fights Mace Windu one-on-one. Even as a kid, I remember seeing that scene and I was like, wow, man, Kit Fisto is supposed to be this super cool Jedi. Bam, just killed instantly by the Lord Sidious. I think there could have definitely been ways where that could have been improved. Like the choreography or the way, just the way that scene plays out is pretty bad. The fight scene between Mace Windu and Chancellor Palpatine is not that bad. The way Anakin and Mace Windu and Chancellor Palpatine end it, that's not too bad either. Just that initial part where those Jedi are really easily taken down and the fight scene starts really badly and it looks silly, honestly. And that part had me really scratching my head. So that's the only real thing that stood out to me. The one thing I didn't like about the film. So we'll kind of go on to the next part, which I want to talk about, like things that are really good about this movie that he improved, like Lucas learned from Attack of the Clones and kind of improved upon it on the second movie, or this third movie. The first thing I want to talk about is the subtlety of how information about how the characters are feeling, that kind of thing, that subtlety is taken to another level. So in Attack of the Clones, it's very, very obvious kind of Lucas, for some reason, doesn't trust the audience to be able to understand what characters are feeling. So he tries to take it to great lengths to explain what every character is feeling. So Anakin is constantly saying, oh, I love Padme. I can't live without Padme. I've been thinking about her for so long. And it's really not good. But in this movie, he really improved upon it. So there's a lot of instances where Anakin shows emotion and how he's feeling and how he's conflicted without just plainly stating it. So one thing at the beginning of the movie is Padme, when she reveals to Anakin that she's pregnant, she wants to turn to Obi-Wan. And Anakin's like, no, we can't turn to Obi-Wan. He never specifically states why, but you can tell, and it is further revealed later in the movie, Anakin doesn't trust the Jedi Order and Obi-Wan specifically. Instead, he trusts Chancellor Palpatine. So Chancellor Palpatine this whole time has been subtly manipulating him and become his mentor and this father figure to him. And so is Obi-Wan. These two are competing. So when Anakin rejects the idea of going to Obi-Wan for help and goes to Chancellor Palpatine, that's kind of what really starts his path to becoming a Sith Lord and Darth Vader. So that's a really cool, and I appreciate like that it's not super obvious that Anakin doesn't come out and say, oh man, we can't talk to Obi-Wan. I don't trust the Jedi Order, and instead I want to turn to Chancellor Palpatine because I trust him more. They never come out and say that. It's subtle, and it really plays into the fact that Anakin is secretly in a lot of conflict. Another thing that's improved a lot from Attack of the Clones is specifically the acting, and Natalie Portman's acting in particular, because in Attack of the Clones, this is something I forgot to cover in my last video, she is not a good actor at all. There's scenes where it's just a close-up shot on her face, and she's just like, and you can hear Anakin talking, and she's supposed to be expressing some sort of emotion, and they have it zoomed up on her face so you can see her emotion, and it's just like a blank stare. I watch, and I'm just thinking, like, what is this? It looks silly. It looks very silly. So there's a lot of scenes where she's much more emotional in this film. She starts crying when there's an attack on the Jedi Temple. That scene between her and Anakin, super emotional. So there's a lot of good instances where Natalie Portman really took it to the next level playing Padme in this movie. So those are the two things specifically. Oh, and the big one is the CGI. So Attack of the Clones, the big hits on the CGI were trying to make huge CGI worlds, entire scapes that are entirely CGI. They continue this in Revenge of the Sith, but they do it with much better execution. I don't know if the CGI just got way better in that time frame or they put way more money into investing in the CGI, but it looks much better in this movie. So like the Geonosis arena looks silly, there's all those droids running around, but in this movie they make amazing worlds using only CGI, like the Utapau system where they go to the planet and he fights General Grievous, and then Mustafar looks really awesome. It's almost, you can tell they're CGI places, but they look good. So the CGI overall in this movie is much better. There's never really a moment where I'm like, wow, that's really bad CGI. It's not the best CGI in today's standards, but compared to the second movie and the first movie even, the CGI is much better in this movie. So those are the two things, or the few things that I wanted to cover that were better about better than the Attack of the Clones, and then are better in this movie. So all around, the best parts of this film, wow, there's a lot of good parts. The General Grievous one is one of the only completely CGI like main character or villain in this movie, which is another good thing that they chose to do. And they made him a mechanic, like, or a mech. So like the droids, which are always one of the easiest things to CGI, I think, and the best looking for sure. So he looks very good, even though he's an entirely CGI character. So it looks awesome. His concept is great. I think he is one of the coolest characters in Star Wars to be introduced, definitely in the prequels. He's up there with Darth Maul. Even his ship is super cool. Looks like a scorpion or something. The tail moves up and down. It's kind of silly, but it's because it's small. But the whole, all in all, General Grievous is a really cool character. The fight scene between him and Obi-Wan, super exhilarating, that kind of thing. So they're running around, he fights with a lightsaber. Order 66 is definitely a part that always hits me hard. So it's where it's so emotionally like impactful, the way the music, the shots that they show are decent. They're decent enough to represent that this is the fall of the Jedi Order and all of the Jedi are dying pretty much. It's really impactful. That scene fulfills the role that George Lucas was aiming for, is to be an emotionally impactful scene that shows the downfall of the Jedi. My favorite part of this whole film and this whole trilogy is this fight scene between Obi-Wan and between Anakin on Mustafar. It's one of the best scenes in all of Star Wars, super exhilarating. One of the best, honestly, rivals, in my opinion, rivals one of the greatest cinematic scenes of all time, specifically in an action setting. So it's just super intense, super exhilarating. The effects are great. There's an emotional factor as well between like the mentor and the apprentice. Like those two butting heads, they know their fighting style so well. They're just duking it out, and the scene is so great. It's the finale, right? The epic climactic finale of the entire trilogy. Honestly, it does a really good job at fulfilling that role. And so that's all I have to say about Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. My tier list now, I'll have it up on screen right now. It goes number 1, Revenge of the Sith, number 2, The Phantom Menace, and number 3, Attack of the Clones. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next time.